What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. You clicked onto this video because you want to see some awesome high protein, low fiber vegan meals that you can make and eat. And I know this is something that's kind of lacking on YouTube because I actually looked for low fiber vegan meals and I literally only found one other video, and it was from Healthy Crazy Cool, my buddy Miles. So that one actually is a really good video, so check that out as well. But I wanted to show you guys some really awesome, really good tasting things that are low fiber, so it's a little bit more of an easy thing to digest for those of you who are on a low fiber diet or just can't handle, huge amounts of fiber. Now, before we jump into these three recipes, I want to just preface this by saying that one, I didn't have enough Tupperware. I reused my Tupperware, but I haven't been able to find like 2 or 3 of them. So I usually make these meal preps for a 5 kind of day thing. So there's 5 different Tupperwares for each meal. This time I only have 3 Tupperwares for each meal. But my intention with making these meals is to have them split into 5 servings. And you can modify these. This is something I always get in comments. Is like, people are like, is this all you eat in a single day? No, these are just 3 meals that you can have prepped for a day, and then you can eat a breakfast and a dinner or other things. Or you can even double up the serving size if you need more calories. I don't know what your specific diet is. I don't even know how many calories you need or how much protein you need. So you can modify these. For example, if you need more protein, then add more of the seitan or the tofu. Whatever it is, you can change it to however you need it to be. All right, starting off with meal number 1. This is a pineapple fried rice, and this is awesome because with white rice you have pretty much no fiber, which is a lot easier to digest. So basically, in a giant pot, we are going to boil up 10 cups of white rice and then have that on the side ready. And then in a big frying pan or in a wok, we're going to put about 6 tablespoons of olive oil or whatever kind of oil you want to use. And then we're going to throw in 1 onion that has been minced up and somewhere like 4 tablespoons of garlic. I like to use more. You can use less, whatever you want to do, as well as 2 to 3 tablespoons of minced ginger. And we're going to let this simmer and brown for about 4 or 5 minutes until kind of like the water's cooked out and it's gotten brown. Next up, we are going to take 2 blocks of extra firm tofu because it has a really high protein content and again, not that much fiber in it. We're going to cut this into cubes and add this into the pan, and we want to have pressed this tofu to get some of the water out, but you are going to have to cook it to get more of the water out. So we're probably going to cook it for another 6 or 7 minutes until you kind of have all the sides of the tofu browned, and make sure that you're constantly moving the tofu around while it's cooking. And then once this is done, you're basically at the end point, so we are just going to add everything else in. So we're going to add the pineapple, which is 2 cups of cut up diced pineapple. We're gonna throw 3 cups of mixed vegetables in here, and again, this is totally modifiable. So if mixed vegetables is too much fiber for you, if any of those things, peas or carrots or whatever it is too much, then you don't have to use it. But I did want to get some macros in there for sure to get some nutrients. And for seasoning, we're going to add 4 teaspoons of curry powder. I know it's kind of a cheat code there, but it is really, really good. We're also going to add 2 tablespoons of chili paste or chili curry, and finally about 2 to 4 tablespoons of soy sauce, depends how salty you want it. And you can also salt this at the end if you want to kind of gauge how much salt you want after you've kind of finished everything, and just keep adding it in until it's everything that you want. We're just gonna mix this around for a few minutes, and then once that is kind of all mixed up, you're just gonna add it to your white rice, mix all of that until all the white rice is then colored and nice and beautiful. And that's pretty much that. The recipe it's fairly simple. This one's the hardest one out of all 3 for sure, so stick around for sure. And then you're just gonna plate it into your Tupperware. Again, I only have 3, should have 5, but you can always make a bigger batch or a smaller batch depending on if you're dieting or if you are trying to gain weight. This one is my favorite recipe out of the 3. It is really tasty. We just had it last night. Next up is a potato chowder, and this is really good because if you remove the skins from potatoes, they're actually pretty damn low in fiber. If you leave the skin on, you are going to face a lot higher of a fiber count. And as you know, well, maybe you don't know, I love potato chowders. I love making all sorts of different versions like broccoli soups and things out of it, but this one is going to be very simple. So we're going to take about 6 to 7 medium-sized potatoes, skin them and boil them in water, as well as 1 to 2 medium carrots, and we're going to boil them all together until they are completely soft and mushy. The longer you boil these things, the less impact that the actual fiber is going to have because it is going to be broken down a lot more. So if you want to boil it for a really, really long time, that's totally fine too. While that is boiling, in another pan, you guessed it, you're gonna have an onion minced up with a lot of garlic, something like 3-4 tablespoons, maybe more if you like it a lot. And you are gonna let this simmer down until it gets browned. And then this part you don't need to do, but if you do happen to have white wine, then put some white wine in there. So about I would say maybe a quarter cup, maybe a little bit more than a quarter cup, and let that wine cook into the onions and garlic until it has evaporated. This will add like some really good volume and some good like body to the flavor, I guess. And that's really it for the cooking. Now we're just going to take those boiled potatoes and carrots, put them in a blender, and take the garlic and onion, put it in there as well. We're going to add about 3.5 cups of almond milk or soy milk, whatever you want to do. I'm doing soy milk because it adds a lot more protein, but again, you can add more or less depending on if you want it to be liquidy or if you want it to be chunkier. We're also going to add 1 cube of veggie broth just to add some salt and some more flavor in there. Blend it all up and it is completely done. Now we're just going to serve it into the Tupperware again, and I like to add a little bit of salt in there if it's not salty enough, and I also like to add black pepper in there just because it gives it a little bit more flavor. And finally, I put some nutritional yeast, so I put 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast on each serving. This way, just get a little bit of extra protein, you get some extra nutrients, especially like B12 and a couple other things that come with nutritional yeast. But again, if this has too much fiber, because it does have, I think like 1 or 2 grams of fiber per serving, you don't have to do this, but this is just another way to add flavor and some more nutrients for sure. And really, this is the recipe that has the lowest protein. So again, if you do want to up the protein, you can add whatever you want to it. I would personally add probably a little bit of tofu in there, or maybe even some seitan. That way you can get your protein up without adding too much fiber. But yeah, modifiable, totally up to you. The next recipe is a pumpkin pasta recipe, and I've always actually wanted to try this. This is really new to me personally, so of course we are going to start this recipe with a minced onion and about 3, 4, 5 tablespoons of minced garlic in a frying pan, of course. So once you've cooked the onion and the garlic down, it's gotten browned, it'll probably take about 5 or 6 minutes. Again, you're gonna add a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of dried sage. And then from this point, we're gonna add the pumpkin puree. So we're gonna add 3 cups, and pumpkin is really nice because it has a relatively low amount of fiber and it's got a really good taste to it. So we're gonna add the pumpkin, and then we're gonna add the soy milk. So we're gonna add 3 cups of soy milk just to give it a little bit of volume, give it some protein again. And then we're going to add 2 to 4 tablespoons of tomato paste, officially 2 tablespoons, but if you really like the flavor of it, you can add more. And then we're just gonna let this simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes just to allow the flavors to kind of marry together. And while we are doing this, we are also in another boiling pot going to have pasta boiling. So whatever kind of noodles you wanna use, we use these big fat tunnels because they really like kind of shovel the sauce up. And once the pasta is done boiling, drain it, and then add the pumpkin sauce that you've just made to it, mix it around, and you are literally done. All these recipes are super simple. Now you are just going to plate this into your 5 different Tupperwares. Of course, we've got 3. And then once these have been plated into your Tupperware, we are just going to add seitan, which is a wheat gluten protein, but it actually, surprisingly, even though it's from wheat, does not have a high amount of fiber. So this is a good way to get some protein in without having to up your fiber intake. We're just gonna top each dish with seitan. We used 2 packages so we could get a really good amount of protein. Again, you can modify this however you want, more or less. And that's pretty much it. Of course, remember that when you are making these, make sure you try the things. So like try the pasta at the end of it and say, okay, does it have enough salt or does it not have enough salt? If it doesn't, add more salt. I know everyone's kind of different. It's kind of hard to nail a recipe where everyone is happy. I personally like to go a little bit lower salt because I generally do like salty stuff a lot. So if I allow myself to, I will get 7, 8, 9 grams of salt in a single day. So I try to err on the side of caution, but salt as you would like to and as you desire, and feel free to modify these. These are super simple. I mean, I love putting out these recipes. I love to expand everyone's knowledge of food that they can try, but I don't need you to do the recipe exactly perfect, exactly the way that I do it. I would like you to take it as your own and turn it into your own thing. Again, I want to make this video because I know a lot of people have trouble with fiber, and not everyone is on a low fiber diet, but some people are just looking for other options to have lower fiber meals within their other meals, that day that do have higher fiber. That way they can get a lower amount of fiber, but these were generally aimed at having the lowest amount of fiber. So you can modify them how you want, put chickpeas or whatever in if you don't need to necessarily have such a low amount of fiber. There are a couple other meals that I actually did want to kind of mention that didn't make it into this video. So a very simple one would be white bread with PB&J. And I know we generally try to have, whole grain breads and things like that, but if you are shooting for lower fiber, then the bleached white flour pastas and breads and things like that are going to have a lot less fiber. So a PB&J is really good. Also, one that I was really teetering on showing you guys is a chia seed pudding. And this is really simple. It's literally just chia seeds, so maybe 2-3 tablespoons in a cup or a bowl, and then you're just going to add soy milk or almond milk, and this is basically just going to congeal into a pudding. So whatever you want to flavor it with now, you could add fruit if you want it to be kind of fruity, or the one that I personally would have done is adding like cacao powder, so that is like a chocolatey thing. And with this, I would also add probably some protein powder, something like that, just to up the protein, but that's also going to be very low in fiber and really, really good for you, getting your omega-3s and stuff. And the final one, you guys probably guessed it, but a smoothie I feel like is a really good one for people who need to get a lot of nutrients without a lot of fiber. Of course, you are going to get a little bit of fiber from, you know, the bananas or whatever mixed fruit that you are going to make your smoothie with. I mean, it is really hard to just completely escape fiber, and I feel like this is one that packs a good bang for your buck for the amount of fiber that you are going to get. So I would probably do 2 bananas. I'd probably do about 1.5 cups, 2 cups of mixed fruit. I'd do about 3 cups of soy milk, and then I would do a scoop of the Vivo Life protein. Guys, if you ever want to find the protein that I use, Vivo Life is the brand that I use. It's definitely the highest quality ingredients. It's all very, very friendly for the digestive system. So this is probably very, very good for people who do have the issues with low fiber. And there you have it. 6 different ideas for you to go with for this following week and try out a few different things just so that you do have more weapons in your arsenal of what you can have low fiber on a vegan diet. And I hope that you enjoy these recipes. If you do, I would love for you to, you know, tag me in your Instagram stories, or even just leave a comment and let me know what you thought about them. If you want to see any of my other recipes, I released my recipe book last year that I was so stoked about. I put 1.5 years into this. It's called Eat Vegan or Die Trying. It's on eatveganordieTrying.com. Not generally really low fiber meals on there, kind of just normal or higher fiber. More videos coming this week. Also, my podcast just released season 2 just this Saturday. So guys, check that out. Go to brianspodcast.com, or on iTunes, you can go to Beyond the Podcast, and basically I'm going to be putting up an episode every single week. It's going to be really, really interesting. There's going to be an episode that is either conceptual or an interview with somebody, and then I'll alternate with the next episode being the next week is the world news episode, which basically I'll fill you in on, you know, technology, science, etc., news that has happened in the world. And I feel like, you know, the news in real life is so boring and has so much of an agenda. This is a really cool way to actually learn cool things where I don't have an agenda. I don't want you to think this way or that way. I just want to show you, yo, look at this AI technology that we just came out with. Look at this computer that just came out. Look at this space travel they're doing, all sorts of interesting things. So guarantee you'll be interested if you check out the podcast, and I would really appreciate it. Thank you. Now we are finally done with the video. If you enjoyed this, give me a big old thumbs up. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Team Beyond the Week. See.
Lift heavy or die, Myron, motherfucker.
Team Beyond the Week.